Daryl Recommends Podcast is a podcast recommending series and shouldn't be mistaken as a reviewing one. Opinions about each show are my own and should not reflect what each podcast has to offer. Content warnings aside, I believe if any recommendation in my series interests you, you should give it a chance, regardless of how I personally feel about the show. And just like with how we did the Adventure Zone recommendation video last year, I am going to be talking about each season as if it's its own separate thing. However, in the case of Season 1 and 2, Season 2 is a sequel to Season 1, but I'm still going to be treating each of them just as much. But we're talking about Dungeons and Daddies. It is a podcast where we follow Anthony Birch, Freddie Wong, Beth May, Matt Arnold, and Will Campos as they play Dungeons and Dragons, and in Season 3's case, Call of Cthulhu, because every D&D show needs a little bit of cock. So the show currently has 3 seasons and is completely made for adults. They literally start off each show talking about how it's a rowdy, violent, horny podcast for adults. So if you are a child listening to this, why are you here? So this show is very funny. It's very good. It's like for a show that's like, this is a rowdy, violent, horny podcast for adults, it is a very good show. I like the group's dynamics with each other's. It's very fun, and it's just like all over the place with how it go about with it. It'll have like moments where it's like, oh haha, they're about to go fight a bunch of people like naked. And then they'll just hit you with a devastating character arc. And it has some of like my favorite like tabletop RPG show like collaboration moments between like a DM and the player, or moments between the players. Like Will and Anthony are both very, very good DMs. And I just think that it gets like, as somebody who doesn't get to play as a player in Dungeons and Dragons or any tabletop RPG game as often as I wish I get to, I just like having those like bits of moments. It's just like, it's so good. I love it so much, and the show is just chock full of it. Again though, the show is a rowdy, violent, horny show for grown-ups, for grown adult people, so children who are still should not be watching my video, hello, this is not for you. But yeah, each of the shows kind of have their own separate like overall content warnings. Obviously there's stuff that's like an episode by episode basis. Some of the like more like touchier stuff they tend to warn beforehand, but overall for the show, it's like, again, violent, horny, not for children. Please stop watching this if you are a child. And the first 2 seasons, I'd say all 3 seasons, I don't know why I say first 2, but all 3 seasons also do have like a lot of child endangerment, so if you don't like seeing children in horrible situations, this is probably not the show for you. But yeah, overall for this show, I really, really like it. And I do want to talk about each season separately, just because there is certain stuff in the different seasons I want to like talk about. You can listen to season 1 and 2, or if you don't want to listen to season 1 and 2 and you like, oh well, I don't like Dungeons and Dragons, but I love Call of Cthulhu, I'm gonna go straight to season 3. You can do that. I just would not recommend starting with Season 2, because Season 2 references a lot of the stuff that happens in Season 1. So if you're like, oh, I like my continuity, I like knowing what's happening, I would not start with Season 2. I would start with Season 1, or just listen to Season 3 if you're like, I don't like Dungeons & Dragons, I just want my Call of Cthulhu game. But enough of that, I am going to go ahead now and talk about each of the seasons. So yeah, I'm going to start with Season 1.
So today is the day of the regional Pee Wee League soccer game, and we are about to join some dads whose kids go to West Rock Elementary. The West Rock Elementary Doodlers are one of the strongest soccer teams in the region, and they are going to be highly favored in today's competition. We're going to start with one of the dads waiting for the van, the carpool, to come and pick him up for the regional soccer tournament. Glenn Close and his son Nicholas are standing out on the street waiting for the van to come and pick them up for the soccer game. Can you roll perception with disadvantage? So roll twice and take the worst.
That's a 10 and a 4, so a 4.
Okay, cool. So everything seems fine and normal to you. Daryl Wilson drives up in his van. Next to him, his son Grant is playing Fortnite on his phone. What are you doing?
So I feel like I'm just like kicked back in the grass, and like my kid might be like standing around maybe impatient. Nick is standing around impatient. I'm definitely just like leaning back like, yo man,
okay,
play cool, dog.
So yeah,
Four dads, Daryl Wilson, Glenn Close, Ron Stampler, and Henry Oak, along with their sons, are on their way to a soccer game when they suddenly are transported to the Forgotten Realms. Separated from their kids, the dads now have to rescue their sons, all while learning the true meaning of fatherhood. So season 1 of Dungeons and Daddies is very good. This whole show is just very good, but season 1 of Dungeons and Daddies is very fun. It is like it's like with the first season of like a lot of like tabletop RPG shows. I think it's kind of like where the party is figuring out like what their dynamics is like, what their characters are like, how they want to go about with things. And so it goes on and off with that at the very beginning, but I think they very quickly like find their footing and like what they want to do. The story remains very coherent throughout, so you can like, as you're going through and like figuring out the mystery of season 1, you could go back to like earlier episodes and be like, oh yeah, this act is like foreshadowing for this thing. And I think that's like a very good way of doing like Dungeons and Dragons stuff. I keep wanting to say Dungeons and Daddies when I say Dungeons and Dragons, but because that Anthony will do sometimes is if a character makes a decision earlier on in the show, he brings it back for later stuff, which is probably like, you know, Dungeons and Dragons 101, like you should be doing things like that. But I think like what I really like about this is how like seamless it fits into it. I very much like the consequences of your actions regardless of like, not necessarily saying like punishing the player for making any decisions, but like making decisions that could be meaningful or could not be meaningful at the DM's discretion being brought back in a way that could either be negative or beneficial to whoever, like whatever the DM decides to do. And I think it's just very, very good. It's done so well, and I think season 1 is one of those seasons that just very much like encapsulates that. And also we just like the dads. The dads are very fun. My favorite is Ron. I love Ron. But then the show also, this season also gives us Willie Stampler, who I hate. He is my least favorite podcast character of all time. And that's honestly, like, I have to say that has to be, like, a big victory for Anthony, because I, like, even with podcast characters I've said I disliked in the past, like Carson from the Silverses and Elias Bouchard from the Magnus Archives, it's very hard for me to get to hate a character. And at least in Elias's case, I can, like, be like, you got some style. I can respect the whole thing you got going on. I just don't like you. And with Carson, it's like, if you weren't a government official, like, you'd just be nothing, and I could just, like, step on you. Willie, I hate him. He's so smug about how awful he is, and I want to strangle him with my bare hands. And it's very good. I hate that man so much. Yeah, no, so overall, season 1 is just very good. And this season will just, like, hate you. Like, once it starts, like, hating you in the feels, it keeps going, and it doesn't stop. A friend of mine's been listening to Dungeons and Daddies and, like, live reacting to stuff to me as they're listening to it. And, like, the moment that they started getting to some of the, like, later parts of season 1, and they were like, hey, the show is hurting me, the show is causing me pain. I was like, ha ha ha, yes, good, ha ha. So, there you go. I very much, season 1 is very good. I do want to add on that this season also has a thing with abusive dads, specifically a very awful man that I was talking about earlier, whose name is Willie. So, if you do not like hearing a guy being an abusive dad in your ears because he is awful and gross, and I don't like Willie, then you might not like season 1 as much, but overall season 1 is really good. It is a very good season. I do want to preface this because we are about to talk about it next. You do want to listen to this season before you start listening to season 2.
25 years later. The black sun burns angrily in a crimson sky.
Did Anthony write some of this out?
Oh my God.
Shit.
I'm so excited.
Yo, hold up.
The black sun? Fucking hell yeah. I'm there, baby.
lower my
I can
seat.
feel it.
I just need to
Get closer to the edge.
yeah.
Yeah.
The black sun burns angrily in the crimson sky. You can see thin, shallow grooves fading into view, all pointing away from the sun. They look like somebody dragged a knife across the firmament over and over again, each time bringing the tip closer and closer to the cigarette-burned sun before slicing through the atmosphere.
Holy shit.
Fingernail scratches on the skin of heaven. And you know what that means? It's time to show up for weekend detention. The signs around town call it San Dimas, but you've only ever known it as home. San Dimas High isn't a particularly well-funded high school, but the teachers are pretty good at pretending to care when it matters. A minivan pulls up in the school's front parking lot. Inside, a man with a bushy beard and kind eyes looks into the rearview mirror. Next to him in shotgun is another man holding the hand of the first and smiling sadly. In the backseat, we see a teenage boy. Matt, who's that teen?
It's Lincoln Lee Wilson. Some people call him Link.
After their dads go missing, high school teens Scary Marlowe, Lincoln Lee Wilson, Normal Oak, and Taylor Swift must learn about their family's past, the secret organization they were a part of, and how they ruined the world. So, season 2 of Dungeons and Daddies, again, it follows Dungeons and Dragons, so they're in that system. But this one is definitely a lot different from season 1. So if you're somebody who is like, I listened to season 1 already, but I haven't started season 2. It's very different. Overall, like, Anthony made this comparison of it in their, like, Talking Dads episode, which is, like, their, like, after each episode series, but they post the ones for the finale on the live feed. So if you can't afford to do a Patreon pledge, that's a thing you can have at least. And he said on it that he compared, that he see this, like, compared to, like, The Legend of Korra of Dungeons and Daddies, and that's what it feels like, which doesn't mean too much to me, because unlike some people, I really do like Legend of Korra, and I do like season 2 of Dungeons and Daddies. I do got like my small critiques of it, but it's not, like, necessarily, like, anything like, they should change the whole plot. I think it's great for what it is. It's a very fun season. I do like the characters in it. I do like how weird they get with it. If you're expecting a season 1 of Dungeons and Daddies, but like part 2, do not go into the season with that. And I like that it goes into horror. I'm a big horror person. When we get to talking about season 3 is personally my favorite, only because I love horror so much. But I will gush about season 3 when we talk about season 3. But for season 2, actually, season 2, though, has my favorite character in all of this podcast, because I love Normal Oak. Normal is definitely my favorite Dungeons and Daddies character. He is beautiful baby boy, sweet baby boy. I will do anything for him. I also want to punch his dad. Which, speaking of dads, I do want to warn for, like, separate content warnings for season 2. It has what I would call emotional abuse. They don't really label it as it, but, like, listening to the show and, like, with some of the interactions between the dads in the show, and also with an aforementioned character who I have talked about in season 1, I would call it emotional abuse. There's also kids die in this. People die in this. Lots of people die in this. People die in season 1, but also a lot of people die in season 2. And there's also a lot of, like, piss talk in it. I don't know, this season has a weird thing with pee, especially, like, near the end. So if that's something you don't like, then yeah, be aware of that. But, like, overall for season 2, I think season 2 is very good for what it is. It's very fun. It's very different. I think I like the development of the dads in this one because I think it makes sense for how season 1 ended. And I say the dads, but I am specifically talking about the kids from season 1, because the kids in season 1 are now the dads in season 2. Hey! So I think it makes sense for them with, like, how things ended in season 1 and how it goes into in season 2. So if you might not agree with me, that's just kind of what I think. And I just overall thought this season was very great. I really like it. Again, Normal is best boy. He is so good. I want to hold him in my hands like a little precious baby bird and punch his dad. But yeah, if you want to go and listen to season 2, I do recommend listening to season 1 first, because again, season 2 follows directly after season 1. It is mostly set in, like, quote-unquote our world, so it's a lot different. It's not in the Forgotten Realms. They're not being, like, flung there, but they do get to go there, and it's very fun how they go about with things. It's just very much like a kind of season where they're just like, we're gonna go stupid with it, and we're gonna keep going stupid with it. And I think that's, like, part of, like, my thing with, like, Dungeons and Dragons games, especially if you're not playing, like, a serious tabletop RPG game, is I feel like if there's room to go stupid with it, as long as the other players are chill with it, or you're not doing something that's going to make the other players upset, go with as stupid with it as you want. And it's just a lot of fun. And I think also it's like, it can be fun from, like, a listening perspective. If you are making something that's like a show versus playing a game, because one of the things I didn't mention is that they don't really follow the rules so much for Dungeons & Dragons in this game, and I don't give a shit that they do or not, because it's fun to listen. If you're listening to a tabletop RPG show that strictly follows the rules and adheres so good to the criteria of playing Dungeons & Dragons right, go fucking listen to Critical Role. You go listen to Critical Role and you sit there and you listen to Matt Mercer tell everybody, no, you can't do this stupid thing, okay? I mean, you open up Dungeons and Daddies and it says, this is a rowdy, horny, violent podcast for adults, and you go like, so these guys are going to be serious D&D players. No! Why would you assume that? Yeah, that's another thing. But enough about talking about Season 2 and following Dungeons & Dragons rules. Season 2 is very good, the characters are very fun. The teams, I like the teams, they're great. But we're gonna stop talking about Season 2 because now we are going to talk about Season 3.
The year is 1950XX. The town is Peachyville, Nebraska. Just another hunky-dory nifty-50s small town on the rise in post-war America. Everything in Peachyville is just peachy. The lawns are green. The fences are picketed. The skirts are poodled, and the cars are big and long and thick and powerful as the American dream itself.
I like the sound of that.
Looking around this peachy community, it's hard to believe that 10 years ago it was nothing but a blighted stretch of abandoned farmland, until eccentric real estate mogul Jimmy J. Stubb looked out upon it and had a vision. A vision of a thriving, integrated suburb where any man of any color or creed could put his family in a home, his car in a garage, and his wife in a kitchen. And so, life in Peachyville has gone peacefully and peachily on for more than a decade. But tonight, it's all about to change. For strange things, ancient things, slumber in the shadows of Peachyville. And foul deeds, even fouler than heavy petting and beat poetry, are afoot to awaken them. But fuck all that, it's time to bowl, baby!
Yeah.
At the Peachyville lanes, the
On the night of the guttural screams Big Win, the bowling team finds themselves involved in a town-wide conspiracy. Now teammates Francis Farnsworth, Kelsey Grammer, Trudy Trout, Tony Collette, and Blake Lively must uncover the truth behind Project Heartland and how to save Peachyville from destruction. So, Season 3 is my favorite season. Season 3, unlike with Season 1 and 2, are different from Season 3 for two big reasons. The first reason is that, unlike with the first two seasons, Anthony Birch is not the one who DMs Season 3. It is actually Will who DMs Season 3. And instead of playing Dungeons & Dragons, they go ahead and they play Call of Cthulhu. Because again, every Dungeons & Dragons tabletop RPG show needs a little bit of cock. Season 3 is my favorite season. I love Season 3. This season is so stinking good, and you may disagree with me. I don't know. I tend to stay out of fandom things. I have seen stuff that goes around, so I am not like completely blind to how fandom perceives this show in general, but I love Season 3 a lot. Season 3 is so good. I love the horror. I love the fact that Will goes so much into the horror. The show is terrifying. I love it. It is so great. I love the characters. I love the NPCs. I love the direction with the story. It's so funny because I started off with like the first 10 episodes of this show hating both Francis and Tony. And then, like, Tony, my opinion of him got better after episode 11, if you know, you know. But Francis is not my favorite. I love Francis. He is a little shit, he is awful, and I love him. He's great. I love the development for these characters in this. They'll punch you in the emotions, and it's so good. It's so well done. I think, like, of all the, like, Dungeons and Daddies, like, big party group, I think this is my favorite group. I love the dynamic between the characters. They're so found family coded. I love the backstories for the characters. I love their development arcs. I love the fact that, like, it's just I just hold this party in my hand, and I just like, thank you for giving me this. I love it so much. I definitely like Season 3 is definitely like, one of my favorite seasons of a tabletop RPG show ever. I love Season 3. I want to pick up Francis like a little baby bird, and I want to wrap him up like a burrito, and I want to throw him very hard against the wall. I like this season a lot. I like also just like, if you don't know about my webcomic, I have a webcomic, hi, and if you know about my webcomic, you can tell that I really like small town horror. And I think this one is just very good. It hits like a lot of like little like vague niches I like. Like, I like eldritch horror. I love it, like, stories when they do eldritch horror, and it's like the concept of worshipping something that is bigger than yourself and not kind of realizing how fucked up that is. And I'm just like, it's just this very specific horror niche I like. I also just really like 1950s Americana, not as much as I like the labor movement during the like early 1910s to 1930s. That's a whole other thing. I've talked about like my specific like history niche that I like, and it's like, in like 1950s Americana is less so of like a interest in like history niche of mine, and more so of just like, that's such an interesting time period to put a horror story in. Oh, but it could also be the Fallout fan in me talking. And I just, the show, these characters, it's just so good. Like, I think, like season 1 was really good. Season 2 definitely had me hyped up a lot more for a bunch of certain stuff in it that season 1 didn't have me. Season 3, I was like through the whole season, because season 2, I liked with season 1, season 2 had season 1 to back up on, so like there was a lot of stuff to be hyped for like season 1. From season 1 into season 2, and being like, oh, it's the thing, or oh, it's that thing, or oh my god, this reveal is just, and then you get to season 3, and I'm just like, through the show, I'm just sitting there, and I'm just like, hype, every episode, just, I love their party dynamics. It was so fun. Like, Anthony is so fun as a player, Will is so good as a DM also. They're both like phenomenal DMs, and that's just like with tabletop RPG shows, it's just a lot of fun. It's so much fun. I had a lot of fun with this season, and I just have a lot of fun with the show. I do want to do the content warnings because season 3, again, is called Cthulhu. It is horror. It is very, very more horror than season 2. So it has like a lot of blood and gore, a lot of violence. There is a bunch of episodes where I do need to put suicide warnings. They do mention those beforehand in those specific episodes, but I do want to clarify that there may be characters who either do kill themselves or try to kill themselves in this show. And it also has dog death and spousal abuse and emotional manipulation. My poor baby boy needs a whole content warning for his arc. But this show, the show in general, but this season especially, is my favorite. I love season 3 of Dungeons & Daddies so much. It's very horrifying and it's great. But that is also the last season I'm going to be talking about. At the time of me recording this, season 4 has not started, and this is probably going to go up before it starts, hopefully. But yeah, they're doing a 4th season. You should go check it out if you have listened to the show and are like, oh yeah, 4th season's coming out. You should go listen to it. If you haven't, you should listen to the show and then go listen to it. But that is all for this video. Like every single video that I've doing before, I am going to link to any relevant websites, Patreons, whatever comes up when I search up Dungeons & Daddies. I know they have a Patreon, so that's definitely going to be going down below. But you guys should just go listen to the show, and if you like it enough to support it, you should go do that. And if you want to go and follow me maybe on my socials, you can. But just by watching this video, you're already supporting me. My goal this year is to get this channel monetized, and I really want to get it monetized because I've been working hard at it for a while, and I want to get there at some point, hopefully. That would help me out immensely in these trying times, because the world is on fire. So, anyway, go follow Dungeons & Daddies. Go listen to Dungeons & Daddies. Maybe go watch my stuff some more. I don't know. I don't like promoting my own thing on these videos, but because this is about promoting other things. But if you want to, then you should go do it. Have a good day. Goodbye. And I'll talk to you all later. Bye!